Hey guys, so in today's episode, rookie mistakes, okay? So number one rookie mistake for today was actually from one of our newer students at the mentorship program. And it comes to overcomplicating things. So oftentimes inside of our mentorship program, we keep things very, very, very simple. Oftentimes so simple that it's like it can't work. It doesn't make sense why it would work, right? And So one reason why it works so well is because most marketing, if I put it to you like this. So I once heard this guy on an advertisement say, the more and thens you have inside of your marketing, the lower the percentage that it's actually going to work. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And there's like, so first I had to run an advertisement. Then I had to make the advertisement. I had to go figure out the advertising. And then the person has to come and look at the advertisement. And then the person has to go click on the advertisement. And then the person has to go to my website. And then the person has to go do this. And then the person has to go book a call. And then the person has to go and watch my videos. And then the person has to show up to the calls. And then the person has to do the call. And then it's like, so the more and thens that you have, so step one, then step two, and then step three, and step four, the less likely you're going to get people to go through all of those steps, especially because the more steps you have, each step of the way needs to be very, very, very high level in order for people to actually feel comfortable taking the next steps. So if you just simplify it where it's like they see me and then they talk to me, then they want to buy from me. 3 steps, right? You don't have to be that great and like masterful. You just get good at 2 out of those 3 steps and then you're able to go and get clients very consistently. But you know, for most people, like if they're trying to sell you a course, they want to make marketing seem very, very, very complicated, right? Where it's like, you know, you have to have this magic thing, then stand on your head, then be a marketing guru, then post 50,000 times, then get these magic posts, and it's just like, it's way, 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 way too complicated. When you're selling something like accounting and bookkeeping, most people that are going to pay you a high ticket price point already know that they need the service. So it's more about, are they just willing to work with you at the price point you're asking for? If you can do that and get them to basically say yes at those high price points, you automatically will win. I'm just adjusting my camera real quick. You're automatically going to win. Interesting. So this is a new camera that I'm working with, so I'm really trying to figure it out. So yeah, so all we had to do with the student was just tell her, hey, you know, you have to be focused on 2 to 3 things. So I basically told her, okay, so we have like our referral partnership methodology, then we have our LinkedIn methodology, then we have like a backup methodology like on Facebook. If LinkedIn for whatever reason is just not quite working that way that day, because sometimes like LinkedIn will give you like this weird kind of like limitations on your account, especially if you're using like the free version. If you're using the paid version, you don't get quite as many limitations, but if you're using the free version, you definitely do, because like most social media platforms right now are wanting you to pay to play. It's kind of the phrase that's like being thrown around. So that's the main thing, right? Just focus on those 3 things. We'll go over more of those like in future videos and future podcast episodes. Next thing is like a business lesson that I kind of learned and was reminded of this week. The lesson's basically incremental gains compound. So I was at like a dance event. I was talking with an old friend that I've known this guy probably for about 5 years, and we were basically talking about like stock investing. So I was like, you know, historically I've been very good at choosing like good stocks to like go. It's just in a lot of cases I don't invest enough money inside of those at any given time for that amount of money to like really be significant. So I'll make like, you know, $200 here, $1,000 here, right? For me, for some people, like making an extra $1,000 off like a stock trade is really good money. For me, I'm looking more for like $5,000, $10,000 gains at a piece, right? So I mean, but when I talk to the person, it's like, you know, incremental gains add up. It all compounds, right? If you just get a 1% gain every single day of the year, you already have 360%. And I was like, that's a good point. I never thought of it like that, right? Because I was always, you know, you try and invest something, then you try and get a return. But incremental gains add up over time. It's not just with like stock investing as well. It's the same thing with your business, right? If you just get good at like in terms of business at just understanding how to do certain things. So your marketing, your sales, and then just taking care of clients. That one client then turns into 2, which then turns into 3, which then turns into 4, which turns into 9, which turns into 12, right? And then if you mix in a little bit of marketing magic, where it's like you start getting more chunks of clients, we call them chunks of clients, right? That's when you can grow a little bit faster without necessarily having to do like anything magical, right? So like whenever you see like the students where it's like they'll get like an extra 3 clients or 5 clients, or they'll jump up by an extra like 10 grand a month, it's not necessarily because they like did a bunch of extra work. It's just that the results started compounding on one another, and a lot of the stuff that either didn't seem like it was working for them in the beginning, or just took a little bit of extra time to kind of click, finally came back around and clicked for them. Right? So it's like, it's just all about doing the small stuff where over and over and over again, it just keeps adding up more and then more and then more and then more and then more. And like, that's really the biggest thing that I've just kind of like learned, just reminded of this week. Cause I used to think that everything was like a home run, right? Where it's like, especially if you don't have, if you feel like you're behind the 8 ball, a lot of people start getting desperate, right? And then when we get desperate, we're like, okay, I need to hit the ball out of the park every single time. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's actually 4th of July right now, and like a lot of fireworks kind of going on outside, right? So just boom, boom, pow, 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 pow. So it's very interesting. I actually got to go watch some of the fireworks a couple minutes ago when I was on my just driving and stuff. But yeah, you know, it's like, you don't have to hit a home run if you get good at hitting base hits. So there was a movie, I can't remember exactly what the name was, but it was basically a story about like the Oakland A's in the 90s, where they were like one of the worst teams in baseball, one of the worst teams. What they discovered was they brought in this mathematician who basically was really good at statistics, right? Because baseball is like a game of statistics when you really break it down. And they basically said, you know, the number one statistic that's going to show how many runs we can score and thus how easy it is for us to win is on base percentage. It's not the number of home runs, it's not having the best players, it's how often can we get at least one base hit per person. So we don't need someone to like hit a home run, can they just get on base? And if every single one of our players is the best in their position at getting on base, we're going to win because the statistics are in our favor. So they started doing that, and at first the strategy was not working because they just weren't able to get it figured out, and they still had some players from the old era that were like really good, but they just weren't really good at getting on base. So as soon as they cleared the house, they started firing some of those people, their strategy started working over and over again, right? And it just kind of ties back to the business where it's like, if we just hit a base hit, if we just get that marginal incremental win, it's going to cause a snowball effect later down the line. We just have to get enough time, enough of a chance in order to do that, right? And like most people, like in their business, they just, when they get frustrated, they tend to get desperate, and that's when a lot of people like quit. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he was asking, like, you know, what causes someone to succeed versus someone to fail? Well, and I was like, it's kind of hard because I always have to be like impartial, right, when we talk about a lot of this stuff, right? Because I'm just like, well, the impartial answer would be, well, they just joined the program, they became successful. But if I was being like objective and just talking about people who aren't in our program, right, just like what causes success or failure for just most people on average, it really comes down to their emotional resilience and their ability not to get too overwhelmed or overcomplicated, right? Because in a lot of cases when it's emotional resilience, it's generally people quit because they either get frustrated or they get too overwhelmed, right? If things are too overwhelming, then it's just like you just feel like you never get things done. And when you feel like you never get things done, that is frustration, and that causes people to like really be like, yeah, this is just not for me. Business just isn't for me, or business doesn't work, right? So it's just like, just keep things simple, right? Kind of going back to the original topic, keeping things as simple as possible in order to go and like really succeed long term. Then my random topic for today is really thinking about people over money. So this is like in a lot of different areas, right? So I used to think in a lot of cases, like, I don't know, because like just growing up, I just thought that people were very transient, right? So like I would be switching school districts. I switched school districts after I was in after 7th grade. I switched my 8th grade year in middle school. I switched one high school, 2 high schools. So I went to 2 different high schools. I also was driven. So in the morning, like we'd have like a school bus, since we were out of district, we had to go to a different high school and then transfer. So technically I was talking to people from 3 different high schools, as well as I graduated high school early, so I had to go to like a community college, right? And on top of the community college, I had to go to a different college during the summer, and then I went to the main college that I ended up going, U of M, right? So it's just so much transition. Even when I was at U of M, I was in a lot of different like activities or different like entrepreneurship groups and different things like that. So it's just like always having to go and meet new people, make new friends, right? So the value of a long-term friendship didn't really mean anything to me. So that actually led over into my business journey, even my corporate career. Like I had a very short corporate career. And the reason why I even started my business was because I saw my mom, like she had like, worked her entire career, climbing the ladder and just like really doing the right things. And then as soon as you get very close to your goal, they can just fire you. Like she literally got walked out of her office, and like literally they just didn't, it was just a lot of different reasons, a lot of things were happening, and it was very hard for her to get another job after that happened, right? So she ended up going, like I think she had a couple $100,000 in the bank after like years and years of like working. That almost dwindled down to like less than like $5,000 in the bank for her. It was a very scary time period for her and for us. And like at the time, like, that's really when I started the business. Like, hey, I can't, number one, I just can't have this like happen, where it's like I can't have that happen to me. But also it's like, let's see if we can like make some money so we can help her out, right? I mean, gratefully like we were able to actually make things work the way that we did. But, it's just one of those things where it's like, really understanding, I got really focused on like money. Like it was always about money. It's always about making money, because I was in survival mode, It was all about like taking care of my family and taking care of. But as I started expanding out past money, it was really kind of remembering that's like, people are important as well, right? And that's really the reason why I started like the mentorship program. That's the reason why I even like make these like podcasts and like YouTube videos, right? Because it's like, yeah, I mean, I have enough money pretty much now. If you give me about 2 more years and I did no extra work, right, I could retire. But it's like, it's just no fun doing nothing all day. Like today was 4th of July, and like this year I've been able to take a lot of time like off of work and off of like business, right? Because of the way the team is built up. But it's no fun doing nothing all day. Like I know some people, like, especially if you're overworked at your job, you're like, I just want to do nothing all day, or I just want to kind of like relax. But when you get to that point where like you have nothing to do and like you're used to doing a lot of work, you have like a really high capacity for work, it just feels weird. I feel weird. I feel super, like if I don't work, I feel really tired. I don't know exactly why. It's like my energy really matches the amount of work that I have on the calendar and like the number of people I have to talk to. So it's like if I like, today I felt so tired. I was like, why am I so tired, man? I did nothing all day. And it really came, like, when I say like nothing, like it wasn't like nothing, because I did a little bit of stuff and I had to talk to some people in the mentorship program. We even did like one of our mentorship community calls, but like for most of the day I was so tired. It was ridiculous. But yeah, that's my thought process for today. So just to kind of recap, number one, don't overcomplicate this stuff. Keep this stuff as simple as possible. Now, that's assuming you have a good strategy. If you don't have a good strategy, okay, it's probably too simple, right? So you need to kind of like get a good strategy in place. Second thing is, for the business lesson of the week, is incremental gains leads to compounding effects. Just do the right stuff over and over and over again, even though it's boring, even though it's simple, and it will add up over time. Next thing, people over money, right? So it's like, at the end of the day, really focus on building client relationships rather than just seeing people as dollar signs. It'll take you a lot further, a lot faster, because you start getting a lot more like referrals. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bookkeeping Business Secrets podcast, where I basically break down all the different results that I've had since starting my business for the last decade, as well as the different students we've had throughout our different mentorship programs. So I'm looking forward to seeing you inside the next episode. Please feel free to share this podcast with other people who are trying to start an accounting or bookkeeping business, or even like a business in general, who you really care about and who you really want to see succeed. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. My name is Bryce Tubbs, and I'll see you inside of the next podcast episode. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.